Okay, next up, Dacor's unveiled their new induction ranges. This is huge breaking news. They unveiled it at KBIS 2025 8 months ago, and we're just getting to it now. So we're a little bit late to the party, but it is big news. These induction ranges feature lots of power. I'm told it's 1.21 gigawatts of power. It has a feature where you can sync two burners. You can have one knob control two burners. This is great if you're doing A/B testing with recipes, like you want to do a little extra pinch of salt in pot A and not an extra pinch in pot B, but you want to control the heat at the same time. That's kind of what you can do with the sync burners. And then in the oven, it contains a mesh filter to prevent flavor cross-contamination while cooking multiple dishes. Usually I throw it to Anthony here, but I'm going to throw it to John instead because I really want his expert opinion on whether or not this mesh filter works.
Yeah, it works. They wouldn't put it in if it didn't. So yeah, it does 100% work. What are you curious about? Are you thinking about trialing it?
How can a mesh, if it's a mesh filter that allows air to go through, how does it allow air to pass through but not odor?
Well, you think about the mesh filters.
Everyone knows odor is smaller than air.
If you think about the mesh filters that are in like over-the-range microwaves or things like that, in the early going, I mean, they do have some filtration properties there that do help with that. So it's the same kind of a concept there.
Okay. Anthony, you have anything to add?
Not to the mesh filters, but it was an interesting part of their four-way convection system that I was very curious about performance on this, where it talks about the filters, the fans, the baffles that spread out the air. So I thought that was really interesting. So I'm not familiar with this. I haven't seen this range in action, but I'm very curious how their convection works in performance. But whenever we prepare for these segments, I'm always like, okay, what's going to pop out to me about this? And it's the noise canceling on the cooking surface, because what's a complaint with induction is the sound, is the vibration. That is often it's the cookware, whatnot, and we have induction here, and it'll make a sound. And that this is supposed to reduce that sound, actually a pretty good idea for a common complaint for induction. So I'm excited about that feature. John, keep going on this one.
Yeah, so look, it's another induction range into the market, right? And it checks pretty much every premium and box that you'd expect it to do, right? Power, precision, design, features, all of those things. But what makes this launch really stand out is really how they've directly addressed real world objections. And again, I always say this, when you are a company that's jumping into a category, make sure that you have these things kind of checked off in your box, right? Make sure that you solve problems that the ones before you haven't. So you have that matte anti-scratch glass surface, right? That's going to reassure the customers that the cooktop will actually hold up over time. You actually have Energy Star certification here, which makes Dacor one of the only luxury brands that can actually prove out its efficiency claims. And then lastly, Anthony, you're right, that dual noise canceling, it is a first of its kind system that will help reduce the humming sound. And look, before we get any emails on this thing, like Dacor hasn't published exactly how this technology works. I'm sure that's going to be a popular question, but we do know that humming usually comes from lower quality pans that are interacting with that electromagnetic field, right? So best guess is that Dacor probably found a way to manage all this noise through like a mix of a couple of different things, probably, right? A mix of like coil isolation, vibration damping, maybe even some power control between the burners. But look, at the end of the day, the combination of these two things really matter, because at this point with induction, customers don't need another kind of loaded spec sheet of an appliance, right? They really want reassurance that the issues that they've heard about, like fragile tops and noisy operations and questionable efficiency numbers, right? That those things have all been solved. And Dacor is the first brand that's really engineered directly past those objections. And that's why this launch deserves to be treated as more than just another induction range that's hitting the market.
Some more late breaking news here. It turns out that there's an update on the power rating. It's 4.3 kilowatts, not 1.21 gigawatts. So that seemed large. Seemed too large for an induction range, but still a lot of power. Still a lot of power.